Good morning, everyone. I just want to welcome everybody to the Vernon Public Schools, specifically to Skinner Road School. We were happy today to have Governor Lamont, Lieutenant Governor Bysewicz to tour the school. We got a chance to see what's happening. It's been 6 months since March 13th that students have been back in schools, and I'm happy to report we had a successful first day in Vernon yesterday, and today another successful first day, and it was great to have the governor here to witness and see what's going on. He spoke to some kindergarten classrooms virtually. He spoke to some pre-K classrooms, 5th grade classrooms, so it was great. So I just want to welcome the governor to Vernon. Governor Lamont, welcome to Vernon. We're glad to have you. Podium's all yours.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Hey, Joe, we really wanted to come to Vernon. We really wanted to come to the school to show, parents and teachers a community I think is really doing it in a very thoughtful way. I love walking through the classroom, right, Susan?
Absolutely.
The kids were so excited to be back. The teachers were really excited to be back. But you're doing it carefully. I mean, we were in there, obviously the pre-K, they're allowed to be here full-time because that was a smaller class. We also went to, and there was one child which had hearing impairment. I was fascinated. We had a special mask for the teacher that had transparency here so that the kid could read the lips at the same time. I love going into the virtual class for those kids that don't feel comfortable or shouldn't be coming back into school right now. There's a full-time virtual class. I'd say that teacher was very animated. I couldn't keep up with that. And you're going to take it 2 weeks at a time, I think is what you said, meaning we'll start on the hybrid model, and in another couple of weeks, we'll see whether more and more kids and more parents are feeling comfortable. They want to come back on a more full-time basis. And Joe just reminded me there's nothing more important than a kid in the classroom being with his or her friends and their teachers. So thank you for this. And
Thank you.
We've got the mayor here. I'd like to say something,
Yep.
Susan?
Yeah, no, I'll just say that it was very impressive to see 3-year-olds wearing masks. The kids of all ages were wearing masks. They were socially distanced. Some children were outside. Some were inside. There was a lot of space. You've taken a lot of care to make sure that everything is clean, and Wednesday's cleaning day. Monday and Tuesday is one cohort. Cleaning day is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You have the other cohort. And the whole idea is to get parents comfortable that they can send their kids back to school. Right now, 22% of the families have chosen to keep their kids home. And the goal is, with this continued hard work, innovation, and cleaning and keeping kids safe, that everybody will be back to school very shortly. So Mayor, thank you for having us, and please say a few words, if you would.
Thank you. The goal right now is to keep the kids safe, and I think we're doing a good job of that. When you walk through the school and you see the separation, you see all the kids wearing the masks, and from what the superintendent said, that they had one child take the mask off and was quickly redirected and put it back on. So that's good. I was a little worried about the youngsters, but I think it's coming along very well. So it's good to have the kids in school for the learning, but it's also good to have the opportunity for parents to have a choice as well. Thank you.
Commissioner?
Hi, good morning. Thank you. It was really nice to be here. We've been planning for months now, and just to be around students, be around teachers and educators doing their thing, put a big smile on my face. And there's so many. You see those behind us that made this possible. Vernon did it right. They planned well together. They communicated well together. They were realistic, and they shared with the community what to expect. But inside, we met the clerical staff. We met the custodian. We met the IT person running around, making sure technology works. It really is a community effort, and we saw that today. It was really, really pleasing to see that after all the planning. Thank you. Good job, Joe, and your team. Thank you.
Oh, and also, I want to just say to all the school staff to have 91% of the children participating is very impressive. The challenge is to follow up with the 9%, but this is what schools do even if we weren't in COVID-19. So good for you. Good for
Hey, Jim,
you.
Mike?
And come on, legislators. Come on. Okay.
I'd just like to thank the governor for visiting my House district. I'd like to thank the teachers of Vernon. They had to learn a lot about online learning and about personal protective equipment in a very short period of time, and they're coping magnificently. I'd like to thank the staff that's behind them, the maintainers, the cleaning that has to be done, the IT, all the support personnel are doing a spectacular job, and it's a pleasure to see, and I'm very pleased that I hope, I should say, that everybody will be coming back to school soon because you know, with it's split the way it is, social distancing is possible, the classrooms have been cleaned out, they're larger now, and there's plenty of outdoor space and tents and all sorts of stuff where they can take mask breaks, and it's just working out. And I think people will learn to trust the system, and even though 2/3 are already back, that final third, I think they can trust the system also. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And I'd like to start off by thanking Superintendent Joe. Great job. Well planned out. Thoughtfulness, not just for the students, but for the teachers and staff. I think that's the key components that we're looking at, not just safety for students, but for all. Because those students also go home, and those teachers go home. And so keeping track of making sure that they're going to be safe. And nothing replaces a teacher in a classroom with students. Nothing. We're going to try it virtually, and do our best with that. But as the governor said, getting those students back in the classroom is so key with a teacher in front of them. So, but doing it thoughtfully and safely, well done, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
Questions?
Any questions for Dan?
I have a question for the governor and the lieutenant governor. So recently, as I'm sure everyone here knows, Camden had to delay their school opening because there were concerns about staffing shortages. Is that something you've heard about in any other districts? And I know something we've discussed recently is the role of childcare with some of those issues as well. You know, teachers can't get childcare to.
If you want to do the staffing, and I'll do the childcare.
I'll start. Miguel can help me with this.
Sure.
Look, if there's a teacher that has got a pre-existing and shouldn't be coming back to school, of a certain age, shouldn't be coming back to school, that's one thing. Otherwise, I think we'd like you to be back at the school. Here in Vernon, we're going to walk before we run and taking our time on this. I have heard, though, there are a few schools that have had some staffing shortages, and Miguel Cardona, our amazing Commissioner of Education, is working very hard, in part to allow the parents to be able to come in and help and assist in those schools where there's a need. But I'd like to see the teachers back in the schools as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Right, Miguel?
Definitely. So, there are other districts that are looking at staffing issues, and at the end of the day, that's a health and safety concern, right? When we delay a start, it's because we don't have the appropriate staff to maintain the mitigation strategies that we need to have. So first and foremost, it's about health and safety. We are working creatively, innovatively to try to find solutions. That includes a recent conversation with Joe DeLong from CCM to see how we can partner with municipalities to provide options for educators and their children, but everyone else also in the community. How can we put our heads together like they did in Vernon to get this day started? How can we do that as a state? We're working with OEC, Beth Bai, Commissioner Bai also on creative solutions. It's a community effort to address that, and we're working on that
And
as well.
I'll just say that on the daycare piece, this is very challenging for parents, especially when you have a school system that is in person for part of the week and at home for part of the week, and that's the challenge. So Beth Bai at the Office of Early Childhood and I, the commissioner, and our federal delegation in Washington is trying to get more funding to the state because we've lost 45,000 daycare spots since COVID-19, and we desperately need those back, particularly with this challenge of hybrid scheduling. So we're working on that, and we haven't fixed that yet.
Brian, any reluctance from any of the teachers? Then how we got everybody came back?
Yeah, I think in the beginning of the summer when there were some unknowns, I believe that they were a little uncertain, but I think having them in the schools for 5 days before without any children getting back to normalcy and trying to get back into their classrooms and do what they do well, I think that's relieved a lot of the stress, the anxiety around coming back. And we didn't have anybody that did not come back. And that's, I think, has led to a great start for us here at Skinner Road.
Love that.
That's right.
Governor, as you kind of analyze some of the different curriculums that the different districts are choosing to go with. You obviously have a hybrid here in Vernon. We have some that are fully in classroom and some that are fully remote. Is there a preference by you that there is a uniformity going forward, or do you feel like these different?
Yeah, I'd like to think we're going to move towards a full-time model, especially for K through 8, especially for some of those younger grades where the part-time is a lot more complicated due to daycare, due to the nature of distance learning. But look, right here at Vernon, we're going to start slowly. We got a couple weeks. The teachers came in 5 days early, like you just explained. We get more comfortable. I think after a couple weeks, you'll see more and more kids wanting to come into school more full-time.
You said you were encouraged, though. You said you went through the school and both teachers and students seemed, I don't want to say more excited than you expected, but were you surprised by the excitement level and encouraged by it?
Well, it's the second day. Let's see what everyone's doing in a few months. But yeah, I loved it. These kids really, look, they've been home. They've been isolated. They haven't seen their friends, going on months now. That's not the way to do it in life. So you can do some of this remotely, but I love seeing those kids in the classroom. They are animated and really happy to be here. Thanks, everybody.